pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No.
Roll call, please.
Lois Tiley.
Here.
Diana Coops.
Here.
Christine Newman.
Here.
Richard Horner.
Here.
Jim McPhail.
Here.
Diane Dennis.
Here.
And Sarah Tiley.
Here.
Need any adjustments to the agenda? Approval of the agenda. Your motion,
I make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
support,
Support.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Announcements and public comment. Got something to say?
Yes, I do.
Step up to the microphone, please.
All right. Can you hear me all right? I appreciate the opportunity to address the council and the members of the village that are here today. My name is Joseph Klein. I am a veterinarian in St. Charles and been here a fair number of years. And the reason I'm coming to speak tonight is of an issue that I think is very important for the long-term well-being of this community. And that is the new Saginaw County Animal Control Facility that is to be constructed. Now, the background is this. There was a millage passed. There was a $11.5 million chest of money that has been given to the animal control to build a new facility. And it'll stay wherever it is for a minimum of 25 years. So this is a major investment. The county commissioners have been deadlocked on this issue. They have been unable to decide. There's 9 people on, 9 is it? I believe, on there. They're split. 5 of them are in the city of Saginaw, the other 4 are not. And they're deadlocked over some want in the city, some don't. So enough site has passed. I have written to them. I have met with Hart over here, and we brought Mr. Bellman, the county controller, next door here to visit. We brought our county commissioner Kyle over to meet with, and we talked with them about why this would be a good area. Now, the problem is 1 or 2 people can't do all this. It takes the whole village here to make a commitment to it. It's nice that we put something forward and said we endorse this, and that's really a positive thing. But what we need now, there's a March 17th meeting of the county commissioners now, and they want to break their deadlock and move forward on this. But they want something with 5 acres. They want to have as cost neutral as they can be to the county, and I can't offer anything because I'm not the village. So I'm asking this village here to take a good look at this, and this sort of opportunity doesn't come by very often. This isn't like our debates with the chickens last year. There's nothing foul about this whole thing, okay? So what you need to realize here is that this facility, if it comes to a place like St. Charles, it will enhance our community. It'll bring more traffic here than everything else you have here combined. It'll bring more people to this area to see this place. Our Secretary of State's a nice place to have, but this will be much more than that. And I think it's something we need to strongly pursue. So I'm open for any questions anyone has that I can answer from what I found out.
So is there still a good chance, do we have a parcel of property that we're talking about?
We do not. The original idea was to use our industrial park here, but now they want 5 acres. And according to Hart here, we don't have 5 available there,
Correct.
no matter how you slice the pie,
We could move the DPW barn out. Add it,
you know?
no, there's an acre, there's 3.64.
Why do they need 5 acres? What's the,
So, because if they go in the city, they're sure as hell not gonna have 5 acres.
No.
I know, that was the last thing we heard back, but I think a reasonable number, approaching that number should be fine, there's nothing hard and fast about it. But that's what, the last debate was, but I don't see why they need it either, because
So-
here we have a site at the industrial park, we have water, electricity, sewer, gas, we've got, access to the rail trail, we've got the ice skating rink, which is now a dog park. You know, I mean, everything's positive about it, and, we gotta get our, if we're gonna go forward, we need to beat on our county commissioner a little bit, cause he's a little lukewarm on all this. But he's our representative and he has to represent what we want. And, Mr. Bellman will come on board if there's overwhelming support for us and a viable proposal.
Here's, Saginaw, anything I read on this, the Saginaw City is just, they want it there, right, even though they don't have a place to put it. We moved the fair out here, which I think is a good argument, cause the fair moved out of Saginaw over to the other side of Chesaning. So why couldn't the Animal Control Center move out here too?
I couldn't agree more with you. They just have to get on board with us. And this isn't as far south in the county as Chesaning is. This is more
Right.
central, so it's a better location. I made the argument that it's better for the welfare of the animals here. They don't need to be on Gratiot, in the middle of a highway. They don't need to be out on Tittabawassee where there's traffic. They need a park-like setting and a piece that'll be a showpiece for our county. But,
I agree.
yeah, we just need,
and to go back on the 5 acres, who made the decision that they want, I mean, who decides?
that came from
5
our county
acres?
controller.
That came from, Mr.
And they get to
Bellman,
decide, I
on
mean,
what they want based on the square footage, based on their $11 million.
so the whole 11 million on the millage was just to get the money and then they make the rules and decisions after they get
You
the
are
money?
correct, and that is so damn frustrating.
I know, that's why I said that.
Yes, that's
Because I already knew
exactly
the answer to
right.
that.
That's exactly right. I
Yeah.
couldn't have said that better.
But 5 acres, I mean, if, in all honesty, if you really don't like the lot they're on, which the building isn't gonna work, and they need more space, they need parking, they need, modern
Their
facilities.
mistake over there was they retrofit a Rite Aid drugstore,
You're right,
and it isn't gonna work. And neither is the old prison gonna work for them.
but there's no, I just can't see, even a jail doesn't take 5 acres.
No, not at all.
A courthouse and county buildings, even with a park up front, isn't 5 acres.
They didn't start this 5 acre thing until we started pushing
That's,
here.
right.
So I assume it's a backdoor thing to exclude
Right.
us.
But now if they exclude us, they have to stay with the 5 acres, or can they change that as they go? Yeah,
There you are.
yeah.
I think if we come with a few acres and it's over in the industrial park and we make them an offer that excites them, I think we've got a very good chance of
Yeah.
nailing this down.
Because they were looking at Thomas Township, the park out there on the corner of 52, both sides, as far as I'm concerned, on Kitty Corner, both parcels. Neither one of those were 5 acres.
No, and.
And the
that's
one
in past
on the
anyway.
south side doesn't have water
We have like
and sewer that they need.
our rental property.
So,
That's
52
correct.
where, John?
well, they were looking at the Thomas, the park they built for
The industrial park there in Thomas
for
Township?
HSC, for all the expansion where, Second Patrol, I think, is going in there now.
They're there, yeah.
And, then Kitty Corner where the, the
52 and 46.
Oh, where the trailer sales are.
the
Across
double
from there.
wides and everything used to be, yeah.
Just,
I
Now,
think
they're non-tax paying, right? Non-tax paying?
that is correct.
Okay.
But neither one of those is a 5 acre parcel that was available, that they were looking at.
That is also
Did they pay
correct.
something in lieu of taxes or not?
So
I don't
I don't know,
think
if you
so,
got 3.5
They
acres,
must
you're
be
getting
looking for water
closer.
and sewer.
That's pretty damn close.
Right.
And so they require water and sewer.
Yeah, they want the utilities in place,
Okay,
right?
how much does the fire department own out on Town Line Road?
It's
That's what I was
about,
thinking.
it's over
8.3 acres.
8.3, the last I heard was they were asking
Way
80,000.
too much.
80,000?
It's only appraised at 30,000 for all 8.3 acres.
And I did provide that parcel to Mr. Bellman. I think what it boils down to is they're looking for something for free, if they were to even consider coming here.
For free, it was $11 million.
They're looking for some
Course.
kind of incentive or,
Did you have a
tax-
question for,
Obviously, they're not a
Joe?
tax-paying entity.
Kenny's got a question, there, Joe.
They want to come to St. Charles? Is that what they want?
No,
No,
Do they want to build here in St. Charles?
They don't know yet, they're deadlocked. We
They don't
want
want
them to think they want to come here.
I have 5 acres in town.
But we don't have the utilities there, and that is in the
Right.
floodplain.
Right at the edge of the property,
Right at
the
the-
sewer and the water is there, right at the edge. It would have to extend into the 5 acres.
that's a,
What
Would
is
Do
it?
you wanna, do you wanna
Would that be a-
donate?
Yeah,
would
if
that
you're
be a
looking-
flood zone?
If you're willing to donate it, we have a
We're
shot.
looking for
Yeah.
freebies here.
Huh?
We're looking for freebies here to, get some incentive here in the
Well,
county on this.
I'll give you a freebie for maybe 50,000.
Yeah.
Isn't that in the middle of a floodplain?
It's not my decision.
Yeah.
No, we're looking
Think so,
for
it is,
something
isn't
that they.
I know
that
where
would be
Kenny's is.
Given to them. We're looking for something to be given to the county to make them come here and build this.
I am currently tasked with finding the 5 acres and looking for a parcel. If anybody knows of anything, please email me, call me, let me know, and we will move forward, and we will do what we can.
You know what gets me about
The
the
only
5
5
acres
acres
thing?
are up by you.
The only thing you need 5 acres for
I
is
don't
for
have
horses, right?
Move it.
And they don't take horses at the animal control center, right?
Well, actually,
I don't
they're
have-
mandated
I
by
don't know
law
where
to
it's at.
take any domestic animal, which includes horses.
So they could have to take a horse
What
where
they've
they
been
are.
doing is they've been paying, private facilities to hold
Mm-hmm.
animals for them instead. So, yeah, if they have some more land here, and they would be able to do that, but they're not permanently keeping them there, so I don't see how the 5 acre minimum for keeping horses on would apply to that. See, that's not a permanent thing, everything there is temporary. What you want is you wanna have a park-like setting so people will come here, so they'll have a decent place to walk and meet a dog and adopt it and keep this going, but this is a very big thing here, and, it would be quite a plum if we can, nail it down.
Yeah, I think we would all support, I mean, I don't know of any.
We
lack of
sent a
support
resolution to
here.
every board member. We've been in contact with Mr. Bowman. Again, we're looking for some kind of incentive for them to want to be here. As of right now, our numbers do not line up with something. And that's where we are.
There's the challenge, is what do we do to make this place stand out and make them say, this is where we wanna go? And I don't have that ability to do that.
We have a dog park.
We do.
Yeah, we got a dog
We do.
park.
We
Not
have
quite
a rail
5
trail,
acres.
we have a dog park.
Which is nice.
We have a lot of things here. We have a lot of people who are very motivated to work with this thing too in this community. But the economic benefits of this are, should be very significant, you know, in people coming to this town, so. And we don't get these opportunities very often.
No, we don't, we
No,
don't.
this
It'd be
is like a
wonderful if
once
we
in
could find a
30-year
place to
thing.
put 'em. It would be great, you know?
Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions of Dr. Irwin?
I got a statement. They've been granting all kinds of money. They're gonna get all kinds of money, tax dollars when they build it, and yet they want everybody to give them something for nothing. Tell them to go to hell.
What's new about that?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, and I hope to hear something favorable soon. Okay?
Thank you.
Very much, Doc.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Anyone else have anything to bring up here in the public agenda? Let's move on then. Spacer Engineering. Hey, look, they're just itching to get out of here.
Well, good evening.
Hi.
I have Jeff Schwartz here today. He's gonna pass out some handouts. While he's doing that, little bit of news, we submitted your reliability study, your water system reliability study to Eagle, and we got a letter back saying that they approved your water study. So that is a good step in the right direction.
Alright.
Was that a quick turnover?
That was a really quick
I
turnover,
thought so, yeah, okay.
extremely quick. They've gone years before without
Yes.
having anything. So, yes, so it was great that we got that letter back. Second thing is, we did hear back on the scrap tire grant application for Fulton and Hosmer paving, and that was not favorable. We did not get a grant for that. As a matter of fact, of all the grants that they gave out this year, I don't believe any of them were for rubberized asphalt paving. They were all for equipment and research, and that's, yeah, nobody really got the rubberized paving grant again this year, so that's unfortunate. Fulton and Hosmer Street water main replacement, we do have plans ready to go. We're waiting on some action tonight from the council on the streets, the paving proposal we have out there, to do Fulton and Hosmer Street. We would appreciate that getting approved so we can get that out to bid and get the water main and the streets done over there in Fulton and Hosmer. And that's about it on my report. Before we get to the streets asset management plan, do any of you have any questions for me on anything in our report?
Yes, I do, on calendaring things, you know, that something needs to be done every 5 years, and another one updated annually. Who's responsible for calendaring? Is that something that you guys do, or do we have to do it here in the office?
You should be doing it in the office. A lot of the things are things you should be doing normally during your budget process.
Okay.
When you're looking at budgeting, you're gonna look at your water system, your wastewater system, and you know, see what's on the schedule for the following years, and just keep that in mind. And we work closely with Hart and Jen and Don, and, you know, we keep track of that, so. But it is part of the normal budget process, that is the appropriate time to be talking about those things.
Okay,
Yep.
I didn't read the report, so I'm not sure if this was in
Okay.
here or not, but when we repave over in front of Union Court, what are we repaving? Just the street? The street and the parking? Are we gonna disrupt their parking?
Just the street. Just the
Just the
street.
street. We're not gonna disrupt the street parking?
The streets
Where
parking.
the water line is gonna go?
The streets parking that is currently paved, we
Yes.
will be milling that off and repaving that area.
To the
Okay.
curb.
To the
Yeah,
curb.
just to the curb, just
Yep.
in the front and both sides of the building? Just the one side?
on the east side of the building.
Just on the one side, which is Fulton
The
Street,
front,
correct?
just the front,
Right.
Okay.
I guess east side.
yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Should we ask them if they would like to redo something and be part of our bid?
Probably reach out to them, I guess.
I'd be happy to do that.
I mean, they did reach out to us wanting to do the south side.
They want the sidewalk on the south side.
No, they want the parking part on the
Oh, they
south
want that
side
as well?
done. Yeah,
Okay,
Along Flint there?
yeah.
yeah.
And I told them, no, we don't do that, so,
They would have to pay for it.
yeah, but they
At the
might get a
same
better
time, yeah.
bid if it was on a bigger,
Certainly, certainly, we can
We can do
do,
that tomorrow.
I would just ask
we can
them.
do whatever you want, and we can
Yeah.
just, you know,
Just let them know and ask them and
Yep.
see.
Yep.
But don't offer to pay for it.
Be like the kind of you want me
Unless you
next
got
year.
deep
Yeah.
pockets.
yeah. So. Okay, with that, if there's no other questions, are there more questions?
What you want is to do is that you want this agreement, right? That's what you wanna do tonight.
Correct. That's the agreement that,
Maybe I better read
at the last council meeting, you asked us to put that agreement together for the Fulton and Hosmer paving project. And so.
And this is our
that's-
part of it.
Yep,
See, this is what I looked at here, it, total cost and then, you know, anyway, that would be what their fees would be right there.
Spicer Street?
Mm-hmm. You didn't look at that?
I didn't, I'm sorry.
Well, now, I always trust you to check on the money.
I have an extra here. I'm busy.
You gotta tell.
Why does it just say this here? Oh, invest.
No, I added everything up,
Does that include the contingencies?
yes,
Okay.
so that would be 14 less than that.
Yeah, I don't have time.
So that's not, okay, I just wanted to be sure you know, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
We just have to
No
watch
problem.
our money,
Yes,
okay?
She's
Very careful.
You know, Chris is the money man.
yep, absolutely.
Okay.
If nobody else has any problems with it, I'll make the motion to, accept the agreement between owner and engineer for professional services that is attached on this picture.
I can second that.
You support that, is it?
She did.
I did.
Yeah, okay. We need a roll call?
Yeah, there's money involved, we should.
Yay.
Lois, Diana Coots,
Yes,
Christine Newman,
Yes.
Richard Horner,
Yeah.
Jim McPhail,
Yes.
Diane Dennis,
Yes.
and Sarah Tiley.
Yes.
Great. We'll get moving on that, and we would expect to be bidding that out very shortly here. We probably will not have bids back for the March meeting, but it'll be close,
Okay.
so.
yeah, it needs to be done.
Is
We
this,
do
this
trust
is
you
just
guys,
the
so.
water?
This is the paving over top of the areas where we're doing the water.
Okay.
It'd be for all 4 of those blocks.
Okay.
And we've already,
I promise to read it next week.
we've already looked at it, and we
She
can
had
get,
it.
we can get moving on it very quickly and get it
In her
done.
defense, she had a surgery, so.
Oh, I did not know that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, if there's no other questions, Jeff Schwartz here was gonna talk a little bit about your streets asset management plan, and, we'll go from there. He's got the handouts.
This looks
Yes,
really
it does.
good.
Well, our street's on them, I know about that one.
So I handed out a couple beautiful graphs regarding the street asset management plan. I've got a report started over on the chair there, it's maybe 70% done. The first one is called a maintenance performed report, and if you look at it, it just kind of shows as modeled right now, if $85,000 a year was spent over the next 10 years, how that would kind of be broke down for the streets. So for year 20, you can see about 2 lane miles would be preventative maintenance, which would be your chip and seal, crack seal type jobs. And then there would be a small section that's rehab. The idea here is to jump on the roads and keep the ones that are in better condition in a sustainably good condition or fair condition before they fall into the poor category.
And that 85,000, Jeff, that's about what you're bringing in per year with the village, with the millage.
With the millage.
Yep.
And that goes on and just kind of shows as it's modeled right now through year 2029. That's that first handout. The second one is a rating distribution at the completion of the 10-year program, and it shows different funding levels. So where we're at right now, about 87.5% of the roads are in poor condition, which means that they have a PASER rating of 1 to 4. The idea here is to improve them as much as we can with the money that we have, and this shows kind of distribution of how much money you would need to spend to see certain amounts of improvement at the end of the 10-year program. Now, before we spend too much time on this, there's a lot of communities here that they're kind of in the same boat, you know, everyone's trying to get things fixed, but there's obviously not enough money to go around. So don't look at this and think, oh my goodness, it's not doing a whole lot. The idea here is to improve what we can. The next one is the average annual PASER rating, and this kind of just shows, as the improvements are done, how the PASER rating distributes throughout the 10-year cycle.
Let me interrupt you, Jeff. PASER stands for, you tell them.
The PASER, it's
Pavement assessment.
yeah, it's pavement assessment. I can't remember the acronym exactly either, but all it is it's a quantifiable pavement assessment, and it's not extremely scientific, it's more of a general scale, and it's based on potholing, cracking, what
So
type
you
of.
just drive
cracking.
over it and look at it?
Yes,
Yes, generally speaking. Yep, you got it.
so it's a
Do,
score, it's a
we don't have a
scoring.
green street in here?
Oh, we do.
We do, where is it?
We have North Street where it turns into Beaver,
With
and
the-
we have Entrepreneur, and that is it.
The new ones we just.
No.
But we have two.
Oh, well, that's brand new.
I
Yeah,
know.
okay.
Yeah.
That should be, okay, gotcha.
And like I said, a lot of local communities, it's more the
I
same
don't
thing
know,
as
I
you
can
go
see it,
across
it's
the
right there.
board.
Yeah, I see it now.
So what this graph is telling you is that if you wanna see an improvement in your Paisley ratings over time, the village needs to be investing a lot more than $85,000 a year
Well,
to
of course.
maintain your roads. What this is saying is that the break-even point, just to keep the roads at the condition they are now, is about $300,000 a year.
You know,
Exactly.
we got all of our water things to do here, and it's just,
Are there Pazer points that we're getting or something?
I wish. I wish.
Okay.
But, I mean, you know, in an asset management, you know, format.
I know.
That is the break-even point, is about $300,000 a year.
Wow.
And that is to maintain the roads in the condition they are now.
and I have to make a comment, you know, about taking care of the roads that are in good shape. All of us who live on these roads that are in bad shape don't like to hear that. You know, when you bounce down our road, we have old mine shafts that run down underneath that property, and I always think, one of these days, me in the car, you know, we are going right
I
to the
lived
road.
over on Cold Street.
And, you know,
It was all
so,
mine.
I mean, so it's, you know, it's getting bad, and I know that we don't have the money to do everything, but just for your information,
Right,
we are, you know, there's a lot of unhappy people here with
Right.
the condition of their street.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
And part of what we need to look at is, you know, if you had $300,000, would that go to rebuilding 2 blocks of very poor street? Or would that go to 2 miles of other streets, making them, you know, a little better? So those are the things that we need to juggle with, and over the next, you know, few months, you know, we're gonna be talking about items like that to get a feel for what the council wants and what direction you want us to go with this.
But I think it's like, what can we afford?
Yep.
What can our residents here
Yeah.
afford? Because right now, I think
Yeah,
a
we're
lot of
gonna
people
hit
are
them
in
pretty
trouble,
good
yeah,
with water.
with water, and I
Yeah,
think
we're
that
gonna
people
hit
are
them
not
pretty
gonna
good
be too
with
happy
water.
to do that.
Right?
They're just gonna have to go bad until people understand, you know, that
Well-
they gotta pay more to get them better.
You really can't even look at a bonding issue because it's
We're gonna ask for.
Ridiculous.
I know, so we, you know, it's,
300,000 a year, that's
it's
3
gonna be a
million,
constant
right?
game, so
Right.
when you guys are looking at it, see, anytime,
Yep.
just see if you can come up with something.
Yep, well, you know.
Would $73,000 make a payment on a $3 million bond?
Depends on the interest rate we get, but it could be close.
You know, another thing you need to
Might
consider
not
is
be
that,
so
you know,
impossible.
with the future water projects, you know, there's gonna be some street improvements with that too.
Well, that we're gonna have to do as we
Right,
go
that you're gonna
along.
have to do. So, you know, we need to look at all of these things
To coordinate
together.
it, so it's not, you know, it's not such a problem, you know.
Exactly, I mean, we don't
That's
wanna.
always been our biggest problem, trying to get the water done before we do the street, before we do the,
Absolutely, so, I mean, we don't wanna throw $3 million on streets right now if we're gonna be digging.
no, but we could
things
throw
up.
$2 million when we get done. I mean, when you get all done with the water projects.
Right,
What you got left, you could do that with,
yep. So.
cause
so
the money's
there-
always coming in.
So there are creative ways. The first thing we wanna do is get this
Mine's
report
German.
done. We wanna get this asset management done and turned into the state.
Yeah.
Cause once you do that, you can use your Act 51 monies and take some of your major streets money and put it into your local street fund. So
We do
that's,
that.
so that's a big reason we wanna get this asset management plan done, and
Oh, we can do more,
you
right?
can do more.
Okay,
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think
That would
you
be
can
good.
move almost all of it
if you have to.
if you
Yeah.
have to. And your major streets here in town are, you know, North Street, which is done already,
Yeah,
and then
Charles Street.
52,
Charles Street.
Yep,
Yeah,
Charles
okay.
Street. So, is Chesney?
We
Not sure.
traded it for Charles
Parts
Street.
of it
Yeah.
We traded some of it for,
are, they're kind of.
for
piecemeal.
Charles
Yeah.
Street.
So you don't have a lot of major streets,
No.
but you've got a lot
I
of
think
local
is
streets.
Walnut a major?
Walnut Hills.
So, and that's part of the problem right now, is we can't use that major road money to fix local streets.
Mhm.
And with this asset management plan, we will be able to, so that's a little bit of help.
Mhm.
But, I think that's what we wanna do, over the long term here, is just, be creative and be forward-thinking about it. So we're coordinating all these projects together and, getting the most bang for your buck. Kinda like we're doing with Fulton and Hosmer right now.
Yeah, that'll be done when we get done. I mean, that'll be
Right.
out of the way.
So, wanna talk about this last graph, Jeff?
Yep, the last graph is, average annual, remaining service life, that's what RSL stands for. And that's based on a 20-year life cycle of a road. So, and it uses the condition assessment they're in right now as the initial, assessment. And then the different colors show the different amounts of spending and what that gets you as far as the quote-unquote remaining service life of the road at the end of the 10-year program.
So even if we're spending $500,000 a year on just roads, we're still gonna be in the negatives, is what I want you to see there. We can be creative as we want, but reality is harsh.
And you're not alone. Just about every community this size is in the same boat. There's no money coming from the state or anywhere to help with local streets. There's help with the M designated streets, M52. There's a little bit of help with some of the major streets, but the local streets, there's nothing.
There's never
She
enough.
says you gotta fix those damn streets.
And there are,
Yeah.
there are cheap things you can do. You can put down chip seals and things like that, but if the road's bad to begin with, a chip seal does not do any good. So a lot of the streets that we're looking at in St. Charles are going to be what we call crush and shapes or mill and fills, where we crush the asphalt, leave all that aggregate in place, reshape it, and then put a overlay of asphalt over top of it.
Just a small one.
Just, well, as thick as we need to do to make the road last long enough, but we don't need to go a real heavy-duty cross-section, because asphalt is expensive.
6 inches is out, huh?
So what's that?
No, it's,
6 inches is out.
is
Well,
that
some areas you need it, but
is that what we did to Beaver Road the first time and that's why it didn't last so long? Do you remember?
I don't remember exactly what
We
happened there,
just
but
milled it and then we blacktopped it.
I know out in that area, it's also very wet, so it wouldn't surprise me if groundwater had something to do with that also. So it had to probably
Okay.
deeper down more of the sub-base.
I'm hoping this one works much better.
This one should be a lot better because it's in a lesser traveled area. It's more of a residential area.
No, it's the same Beaver Road.
Oh,
I'm talking about Beaver Road.
oh, Beaver Road.
Yeah,
Okay.
that we just did.
Yep,
We did that one first when we were doing streets and
Yep.
it didn't last very long.
gotcha.
But then we started doing something different,
Well, this last time was.
which obviously
was a-
didn't last all that
was a
long
complete-
either.
That was a complete reconstruct.
Yeah.
This was, yes.
Yeah, where before it was just an
It was just
overlay.
a overlay.
Yeah.
A lot of
Okay.
times with your overlays and mill and fills, when you don't take the whole surface off, a general rule of thumb is every inch of asphalt you put down, that'll get you a year before the cracks that are already in the pavement come back up through the
Okay.
surface.
Well, and then we had the guy that hauled the sand on it,
Heavy
that we
trucks.
didn't know that was gonna do that,
Yep.
so, yeah.
Fulton and Hosmer here, we're gonna do a crush and shape. We're gonna crush the asphalt that's there, leave it in place and use it as aggregate for the sub-base, shape it and compact it, and then put 3 inches of asphalt over top of it.
One
So-
layer of 3 inch,
It'll actually probably be 2, 1.5.
okay.
It'll be a leveling course and then a wearing course.
Okay.
Do you guys have any information on, cause I keep reading that Europe's roads last longer than they do here in the US. Do you know anything about that or why that is?
Well, for instance, in Germany, they have a cross-section that's about 5 feet deep. I mean,
They go
They
way
really go
down,
down.
and they put down, you know, a lot of sand that helps with the drainage. They put down heavy stone, and then they put down, you know, 12, 18 inches of concrete. You know, so it's very expensive and very beefy.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
very,
So
very
that would be
expensive.
why they're, you know, standing up so well then. Okay.
And the thing we have going here in Michigan is, I mean, we're in a area that has 4 seasons. We get all the freeze thaw cycles, and like this year, we had a thaw in January, which beat up the roads, and then we had another thaw, you know, not too long ago, and now it's frozen again, so, you know, it's just very, very hard on the roads in Michigan.
Yep, and a lot of the areas are predominantly clay for the subsoil type, which has a lot of expanding and contraction
Yep.
as it gets wet and dries out, which is,
It just moves.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
We just got 3.5 billion from the governor for roads, so we're all set, right?
Yeah, right.
Well,
Shouldn't be a problem.
not for local streets.
All
I
major.
know.
None of that's going to local streets.
Yeah, Detroit and Flint will look real good.
I think that's going to, you know,
Kalamazoo,
the M designated roads,
Yep.
and probably a little bit for some major roads. None of it is for locals. So,
So now, with the roads and that, how are our bridges and are we looking good for that?
Those aren't ours.
For the major roads, though, I mean, our bridges and stuff in town that are coming in, are those are in good shape?
But that's state, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
that's state, I haven't seen any of the bridge inspection reports, but I can report on it next month if you want.
I was just wondering, you know, they were talking about infrastructure
Yeah.
and bridges and stuff that are, I was just
You mean
wondering
like the
how
ones
ours.
where the bottoms are falling out? And
Yeah, well, I was just
Yeah.
wondering how ours are looking.
Yeah, no, I can.
I mean,
can
going
look
under them
into
and
that
looking at
because-
them, they look great.
Cause we
you know,
do a
with the
lot
boats
of,
and
you know,
stuff.
we do all
Yeah.
the bridge inspections, so I'll ask and see if I can find some information out for you. But, you know, as far as residential, local streets go, you know, you got $85,000 a year coming in on your millage.
Right.
That, you know, we need to try to stretch that as far as we can. And look for creative ways to find other money.
So did you need something from us on this?
I don't think we need anything right now, Jeff. Are you looking for any direction?
not right at this second, maybe just an amount that we wanna shoot for to model. But that doesn't have to be right now either, just something to think about.
I think,
We'll think about that, because we're doing the street over there this year, that counts for us.
I think our number's 85,000.
Okay.
Sorry to be the bearer of news.
Really glad you guys came.
Yes.
Yeah.
You always leave us so cheerful when you leave. It's a great bunch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Any other questions, anything you want us to follow up on?
Thank you for your help.
No, you've crushed it.
No, thank you very much.
You're welcome, so, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. You have the council minutes from January 8th. Any questions on those? If not, do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make the
One thing
motion.
on the back, this one, per alley, this is like right towards the bottom, per alley, there was no ratification of this, signed contract. Now, is that true or not? I thought we had ratification.
At the time of this, there was none.
Oh, okay, all right, well, all right. It's cleared up.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes.
All those,
I'll support.
oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? January 8th minutes are accepted and filed. And approved. Commission and committee reports, EDA minutes from February 7th. Any questions on those?
Well, I see where they decided not to do any signs. Are those the ones that there's the temporary or the sign by the,
Yes. Decorative street.
so we're not doing any of those? Are we gonna do something else instead?
I am looking for something similar but cheaper.
You thought maybe wood again?
No, I think we kinda wanna get away from wood.
Okay.
There's other metal options
Okay,
that are a little more economical.
and this program that you've put together for the facade improvement grant program
Yes,
will go up to $10,000 match, so it can be a $20,000 project, or is your $10,000 all you're putting into this program?
for the first year that we've agreed to of 10,000, we've budgeted in this budget for 10,000. If the board would like to add a match from somewhere, we could. I thought in the initial year,
No, but the 10,000 is the pot.
That's a pot.
yep, so
Okay,
it
and
could
how
be
much are you allowing to each person?
50% of their project, that we don't know how many projects we're going to get. My thought process was, President Horner, myself, and one member of the DDA would review, the projects once they came in, and try to divvy out and make recommendations to this board based on the project and how it would spruce up or beautify down.
Okay, do you have a, general theme in mind that you're going for?
Not at this time,
No, you don't.
we're
So
bringing
you're
back,
just gonna let them put up whatever they bring in and put in front of you?
well, we're gonna review it, and if
Okay.
if
I
it's
mean, you're
what-
not going for a common theme or a common color thing or a,
we're looking to help people that need help.
You're talking about
Okay.
a spruce up kind of
Yeah.
thing,
Yep.
right? Spruce
yeah,
up.
I'm just wondering if you had any colors in mind, or,
Something
mean,
to
if some-
bury in,
Nothing.
you're not gonna allow like raspberry or pink
double
or
toe.
sorbet or,
No, we
Okay.
could, we can add limitations to this on signage, we could do a lot more if you'd like, I'd be happy to do that.
okay, well, we had done this once before.
Right.
But we had a plan that we worked from, done by somebody who did it for free from over by Grand Rapids, but, many of the people used it. But that was the theme that's out there now, which is Western, which people don't seem to care about anymore, and that's fine, I don't have a problem with that. I like the copper sign that's on the DDA building, I think that looks sharp up there. I don't know, I'm curious to see what they'll come up with if they don't have any kind of guidelines that they have to follow. Just curious, we'll see how it goes. 10,000 seems a little
A little low,
small.
okay.
That's what I thought too, but
Yeah.
if you're looking just minor spruce
If you're looking
up-
for just one or two people to
Yeah,
come in,
yeah.
First year, that's what I thought, I'm not sure whom or what, I've heard from 2 people thus far that are interested in it.
okay,
But I think when you're looking at, I mean, it'd be nice to have a theme, but
I do.
trees, brush, vines,
The other part is,
trash,
yeah,
run, boards falling off, the old stuff. I don't
Right.
care what it is. I'd like to have
that
That-
taken care of.
cleaned up. Yeah, I don't care if they put it as a year-round
I would just like it to look,
Dunham,
Should we do more like,
I would just
I
like it to
don't
look
care.
cohesive when they get done,
yeah.
where you don't drive in and go, wow.
Part of the general
Yeah.
plan.
I mean,
That's
North
like
Wow
painting
is
that
fine,
with
but
blue.
Right,
this is,
in a town, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see on, the write-up on the grant program here, eligible items, and I think I had asked you about parking lots before. It said a limited extent, or paving of parking areas. With Frank's parking lot, that's their parking lot, right? So if they wanted to improve that, could that be part of this? Or you said they don't really wanna do the parking lots, just,
Diana says facade improvement.
right, but I'm reading
the
down
the
here
exterior improvements,
where it says exterior improvements.
And then it says paving a parking lot.
but
But
What
I
I-
know we
what I
had
had-
trouble before with
they,
parking lots.
they don't like to spend DDA dollars on parking lots.
Okay,
And that's what I heard when I first got here.
okay,
Something needs to be done with that parking lot though. It's a rough.
but I didn't know if that would qualify, so I'm just asking.
It could, it certainly could.
Even if it was just a fixing thing.
Well, you can suggest forever, and they don't have to fix it, so.
Right,
And that's the other thing is who's willing to put up their own money to be a part of it?
Right.
I don't,
yeah,
10,000
that's,
is not a lot, but who's gonna spend 5, who's gonna put 10, who's gonna put 3.
Well, they were, they did
I
on that
think they-
last one,
I think
but
at least these 2 will, but it's, time will tell, I suppose.
it will.
I was just asking.
No, it's a fair question, absolutely fair question.
Is the, DDA gonna allow any more overhangs into the sidewalk? Have they talked about that?
It hasn't been brought up.
Okay, I think
I think,
personally, that's a no.
Overhangs into the sidewalk.
Well, where the bar
Maybe
comes out and takes up
hardware,
half that
Ed
sidewalk.
River Bar.
I'm not even sure you could get an Amigo down between the, outside and the edge of the sidewalk.
I know they have a heck of a time with the snowplow.
It makes it very hard to maintain it when you got,
So if
It's
they
just not
can't,
wide enough.
but if they can't, how does that work with the ADA?
It doesn't, that's what I'm saying. You gotta be careful what you're doing here.
Right.
Where that money would be available to do that type of a function.
Wait till somebody tries to go through there and falls off, we'll see what happens.
and that's what I like about this is having 3 members from that board bringing it to this board
Yeah.
to kind of really scrutinize and analyze what's being done, what is it going to look like, and ultimately we still have control over how it looks.
That's a good idea, though.
Well, all set? Your motion to accept the DDA minutes,
Accept and file.
accept and file?
File? It's
Yeah.
file.
No,
Accept-
you,
We
you
accept and
accept and
file.
file, we don't approve.
Right,
I'll make the motion to accept and file.
Support?
then I'll support it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Communications. A thank you letter from the Beautification Day Committee.
You put there's a thing in there that's just for them too.
Any discussion on that? Questions? Let's see. A thank you letter to Officer Church.
First of all, I'm glad that Sarah sent this, you sent this, right?
That second one.
'Cause I
The
don't,
second one, there's 2 here.
yeah, I know, but I don't, do all the Facebook and all that other stuff, so I thought that was really nice to have that in there. And Officer Church, you are kind of my ideal kind of policeman. You know the difference between real trouble and nonsense, and you help people in the process, and I think you're much appreciated.
You are very appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, very much so. You were wonderful with my granddaughter. She was the one in the accident up here on the corner. She was such a wreck, but you were so nice to her that she drove right away the next day, so.
Oh, wonderful,
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that, because.
I didn't think she was ever gonna drive again.
Sure, yeah. I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming I'll.
Well, so right
Oh.
after, Ms. Tiley said that, we received a notification on Facebook telling us to check it out, and then, WNEM called, wanting to know if you were available for an interview, and you were not in at the time, so I was like, oh man, she might be on TV, I don't think she's gonna want that.
Shouldn't put this on, TV. There's too much here to go
But,
through.
yeah, so thank you again for all you do, we do appreciate your work.
Well, thanks for sharing, I appreciate that, it's my pleasure, and the other thing I have to say with that is, I'll tell you what, I can't take the credit for this. Marion Springs Fire Department was on scene, Deputy Henry got on scene, I didn't kick in her window, they sent her a note, said it wasn't me, but it really does take a community, it takes professionals, it takes people that care about what they do to be able to accomplish that stuff, so it's just, it's always exciting to be a part of a team that carries those ideals, so.
I'll give you a
Oh, you
big,
got a cohort here with you?
I don't, not on purpose. He might do the dance, I'll sing and he can. you don't hear me sing, so.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And a
That
big
was a bad night.
kudos as well to your recent cardiac arrest. What was it, Sunday?
Thursday
Saved
night.
this gentleman's life.
Yeah, so
So-
I heard on Sunday that he's still,
alive.
he's still, yeah, so I look forward to that.
How
for
long
sure.
did you
So-
say you guys had to go around?
Yeah, we had about 30 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes CPR. It was Thursday night when the roads were really, really bad. Part of what we encounter being in St. Charles with the police is that often we're kind of the closest first responder to things kind of south and west of us. So I happened to be out that way on another call and got a call out for a 50-year-old male that was unconscious, unresponsive. And his neighbor's a firefighter for Tri-Township, and he went out there and we maneuvered the roads, got up there. We have an AED in our cars, we have masks in our cars, so we have what we need to be able to facilitate that. And we got an AED on this guy, and we started chest compressions. Fire showed up on scene. Those gentlemen just rotated through every 2 minutes, so I got a new firefighter in there. And not once did the guy turn purple, not once was he without oxygen that long that
It was
I could
great.
see, so.
He ended up 2 DVTs and a pulmonary embolism, and they.
That's young too.
And
by
That's
far
young.
saved his life.
I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it, I'm pushing thinking, I'm here, you know. So, yeah, so wonderful again to be part of the team to do that, the firefighters too, it was quite a machine just to watch that all happen and just be a part. So I look forward to seeing him and being able to shake his hand, cause there's obviously a plan for him that he's not aware of yet, so.
And I'd also like to point out that it was in the discussion why police officers in village leave the village to assist. This is a good reason why.
Yeah.
When we leave the
Yeah.
village to go
Well, when they're
assist,
called, they have to go assist.
well, I know, but I'm
So,
saying
yeah.
there's a reason why we have people in this village that can leave and go help and
But
assist.
these are good examples too,
Yeah.
to tell the people in our community when they're complaining, because
There's always a
it's
reason.
a village police officer
Yeah.
and that police officer's doing something else. When you can give them these examples
Yeah.
to why, then that's always awesome.
And there's villages that don't allow that, so, the privilege to do this is fantastic, and the county, I mean, we're deputized in the county as well, so the county says, hey, or they say, hey, you know, we got this going on, and the coast guy's 20 minutes out, so, for us to even be able to do that is I think, a good relationship builder with the community and also with the county. They need to see that we're gonna back up their guys and take care of business, whether it's in the village or if we have to go outside, but.
I know
No.
we've
Well,
been
and vice
using you guys a
versa.
lot,
Yeah.
They'll
because
back
great.
we've been
up.
blowing up
Yeah.
like crazy, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very good, thank you.
Well, yeah, I think the issue was that when people complained, we had 2 police officers, if you remember, that went out, and we thought that shouldn't happen. So it's not like we're saying it's a bad idea, it's just like, guys had 2 there, we should have sent 1 and kept 1 here, so.
Oh, gotcha.
This has been some time.
I think though in those cases, it's completely justifiable to send 2 police officers to a cardiac arrest. Because if you've never done CPR
Oh,
before, you will never understand how insane it is to do. And
Yeah.
2 people is a
Like she said,
lifesaver.
2 minutes at a time is about all you can
Yep,
take.
because if you're doing, if you're
Yeah.
doing CPR as a single rescuer, you're doing 600 straight pumps before you get a breath to do 2, and then you're going back 100 to 2, 100 to 2, and you do it until someone's there. So if you've got 2 rescuers, makes a whole world of difference.
Yeah. And if it had been my husband, I'm sure would have wanted somebody there to take care of him, you know,
I just think that the people who complain are the people who don't understand.
usually,
What it
yeah,
is.
people just don't understand, you know? That it, you know, trying to save somebody's life is hard, you know?
I think it's, you know, one of our responsibilities even as your police department, and all the things I'm just gonna really touch on tonight is that they need to see a department, they need to see a professional department, and they need to see a department that cares about what's going on. And I think that when you guys have that as a department, you're gonna be okay with the fact that they're gonna step out of the village because you know your department. you know the professional, you know the purpose of that department, the department knows that purpose. And when they can move in as a part of the city that way, people aren't gonna be, they're just not gonna question it as often. So, you know, that's one of those things that we wanna see.
But you're very visible, which I like, you know, I mean, people see you, they know who you are, you know, the new woman, the new girl, usually they say.
They say the new girl.
The new girl. So,
Like, I
yeah.
see her at the game, she just
Yeah.
walks
Oh my
through,
gosh, she's just
you know?
Yeah, and that is so important, I mean, that issue is because it's like, well, where are our police, you know, we don't see them, and they see you.
Very good. We
Thank you.
appreciate you. We do.
Again, thank you very much. Okay,
Am I next anyway?
No,
No?
if you wanna get out patrolling, we can move and shake for you.
Well, I don't need
Okay.
I don't need to rock the agenda, so.
Now you're just trying to look good. Next is a letter I received from the Village of Clinton asking us to donate $1,000 towards their fight of the state of Michigan, claiming that they're breaking general law village rules with their, asking us to comply in the lead and copper drinking water rules. I wasn't going to do anything with this, but I wanted to bring it to your attention. In my 10 years with the state, watching villages donate money to fight the state and lose is just that, a losing cause and a waste
Did
of.
everybody look at this?
Yeah.
This was really an interesting magazine this month. And in here is they fought the state and lost
Yeah.
on the water thing. And I thought, well, then why does this group think they can do any different? But there really are some interesting
Oh, I
things.
get, I always
in
read
here.
the legal things.
Oh, no, this whole thing was
So-
fascinating.
As it stands right now, we're doing pretty good though.
Well, we're complying with the.
I mean, as far as our old lines and stuff, we're actually not as bad as what we originally thought though.
Well, I mean, we're doing what we need to do. I mean, the improvements we're gonna do are really gonna help a lot.
The thing that got me about this, one, they did not name the law firm they were working with, they did not have any sort of idea of how much total expenses were in it, because those lawsuits against the state are major money.
And they can
I
go
thought-
on forever.
Right, and I thought this was all brought up about, you know, the incursion on private property, which they shouldn't do. But it was brought up in that previous lawsuit too, and that one went just right slick through the court in favor of the state.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what article you talked about, Chris, but there was a lot of large municipalities that filed suit against the state. Got shot down.
Yeah, well, this was the main one
Yeah.
that I think it made it to the Supreme Court, didn't it? And they turned it down?
I think these lead
In
and
the
copper
appeals.
are here to
Court of
stay, and
Appeals.
we're gonna have to deal with them, I don't.
But there was another fascinating story in here from Rogers City about, actually bonding out to pay for their retirement system.
I saw that.
I thought that was fascinating.
Didn't the
You're gonna see more on that over the next.
Oh, you are,
decade.
but they were so far in the hole, made us look like angels.
Well, I had Merce here yesterday, and
They don't think we're an angel, huh?
not anymore.
No?
Not anymore. I was gonna put it in your Friday, your email.
Oh,
The assumptions are changing again,
Oh.
so that all the work that progress we've made is back to very little. And in 2022, starting in 2019, they're adding a life expectancy.
Do they have to abide by it?
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean the people that
Oh. No comment. No comment.
That'd be
I
nice
learned-
to know, you could play it, I guess.
I learned my lesson on that one.
Yeah, I read all that, quite, that was just.
I'll tell you that story
Good one.
afterwards. but-
That is one.
Yeah, they're adding a life expectancy clause to it, where they're gonna consider that as well, which will further
And the
erode our progress.
Wonderful.
place got the money back and they
I
didn't
think
share it.
Saginaw County bonded for their retirement a few years ago.
You're gonna see a lot of bonds for infrastructure and pension obligations.
Okay.
everybody's Debbie Downer tonight.
Yes, I get them.
Where's the good news?
Come on, we said nice things to Officer Church.
Okay, Saginaw County
Oh,
Parks.
that's right, yep, yep.
I think you very well covered the review magazine.
Yep.
Yeah. I just like Christmas.
Play in the parks. You got
No,
a
it's-
schedule there?
Yep. Hold on.
Anybody that wants to go play in the parks?
Yeah.
Just general information. Any questions of Howard about that? I don't know if he would have
Okay.
anything, but
It's 8 o'clock and we're still in communications.
I know
Yeah,
it.
we gotta
Go for
go
it.
through that.
Let's get down to Diane's.
Motion. If there are no questions, Diana?
Anybody got a question
Any
here?
questions in the,
Zero questions this time.
I just have one, you know, surprise, surprise, you know, I always have one. On the back side of our account balance report, the single sheet. If we look at totals, one place here on the right side, we have 2,000, or not 2,000, 2,070,000 something. Or 24, and then down here at the bottom total, we have 2,714,000. So what is that, what accounts for that difference?
I will have to get you that answer in the morning.
Okay.
First thing, that's a great question. Do you know?
Is it this payroll fund though?
I don't know if that'd be the difference. I don't think that's it. No, it's about
No, it's not
10,000.
payroll.
10,000?
I will get you that answer by 8:05 in the morning.
Okay, cash and CDs.
If you talk to a very groggy person, don't be surprised. Rise and shine.
I'll make sure it's in your
Is there
inbox.
8:05? We're all retired.
Till I have a quart of tea in the morning, I don't, you know, do very well. But yeah, I would like to know, cause I just thought
That's
that
a great
didn't
question.
jive with me.
any questions on the, payments?
I make a motion, we pay the bills in the sum of $104,514.36.
Support?
Yes, sir.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. New business, Saginaw Future.
So, they would like us to renew, for $1,000, no problem. I'm just looking through and saw other municipalities and what they paid. I thought we were well over what Village of Chesney is at 600. I thought we were overpaying for what we get back. So I did a little research, found out in January of 16, we were paying $250 and we jumped to 1,000.
Why did we do that, do you know?
I can't answer
I think
that.
That was a suggestion.
Matt liked them.
Yep.
Um,
And I like Saginaw
I don't
Future.
mind them, I just think 1,000 compared to the other municipalities is a little excessive. And
He thought we were underpaying.
I'd like to get back to the $500, $600 range with your permission.
Yeah, you know, cause that was
That
my
would be
note on
fine.
this, you know, that I don't think that they do very much for us, that's my point. And, you know, it's not that, you know, okay, so I thought, you know, $1,000 was a tad, you know, when I saw what other people are paying, you know.
Do I hear a motion to move back to the $500 range?
I'll make a motion. We go back to $500.
I'll support.
Somebody supported down there? Diane? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Does that mean that they'll have to send us a different contract?
Yes,
Yeah.
How about a refund?
haven't paid it yet.
I'll hold my breath, huh?
So the difference between the totals is the boatworks fund, it's not included.
Oh, that, you know that already,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am. I want you to be able to sleep tonight.
Actually, well, I'll just sleep better that I know that I won't get a telephone call at 1:05, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Like you said, we're all.
Facade grant.
We spoke about it, looking for any suggestions, approval. I think what you guys have suggested already is great and some kind of cohesiveness. Wondering if you would, just looking through that budget, if you wanted to increase it a few $1,000s, or if you had a number in your head that I could try to work on, as this budget is just a proposal.
And this is for 10,000?
10,000 in that capital outlay, there is the ability for 15,000. Would you like to go up to that amount?
I'd like to leave it at 10,000 and not put a lot of restrictions. Let's see what comes in. I mean, you're gonna review them anyways.
Well, it's their program, really, I mean, they're the ones responsible for it, so I
Well,
don't know
yeah.
if we do that, you know,
Yeah.
beginning, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we should interfere with it, I just had some questions.
No, I think
Yeah.
we should roll with it and see if it
See what
works out,
happens.
yeah.
And are we gonna set some sort of stipulation as far as like a color scheme or something?
No, we're
Well,
gonna make them deal with that.
Yeah, I
and
don't
then-
think so yet.
Then they
I'd
can
rather
look
let
at it
them
when it comes through.
Okay.
Weed it out and bring it to us.
Is there a
or-
mouth?
Yeah.
No, lost my cap.
So leave it the way, we're gonna leave it the way it is then.
I would. That would be my suggestion.
Yeah,
I
just leave
think
it.
so.
I don't think we need a motion on that, do we, or nothing?
No.
We've already beat it to death.
Perfect.
Set a public hearing for the truth and taxation for 2021 fiscal year for March 11th.
It is time, it is budget
Yep.
time.
Just make sure you get the print right.
We don't need a motion or nothing on
The
that.
right size, I think it's about this big.
Do we have to do a motion for that?
No, they can just,
No, we'll set it,
I'll take care of
yeah,
it.
just do it.
papers and.
Moving to old business. Personal policy manual, holiday observation.
I'm gonna weigh in right away and say, I don't think we should change. All right, that's me, I like this, there are too many holidays that, like, get all bunched together, Christmas Eve, Christmas, New Year's,
Full
and
presidents.
yeah, and so I think that what we had, that's my opinion, and I don't know what other people think. I would like to just stay where we are.
I agree.
Any other opinion?
Do we have to have a vote on that?
No, you can, you were tabled it, so if no motion is made, it is squashed.
It's just gone, okay, good.
Squashed. Okay.
Wow.
Departmental reports. DPW,
Questions, comments, concerns?
what you see, what we get,
How many people did you shut off this month for water?
None.
Not
Jenny-
me, 'cause I
Jenny
remember
tells
to
me
pay it
4,
this
so
time.
I think
Four.
it was actually 2 to 4. I think.
We shut people off in the winter?
Yeah, are they coming back in then to talk to you and make restitution and stuff, or are these people left without water?
They're all back on.
They're all back.
All back on?
Yeah. We give them time, we give them ample time. One of the best things we do is, we warn them, we tag them, that program seems to be working, but the other thing is, we have a Dropbox, right? So I will set, it needs to be there by Monday at 8 AM and give them a couple extra days in the weekend to try to figure out what to do, and that way we don't shut them off on the weekend, they're not without water, and then Monday
That's
morning.
good,
It's
'cause
it's been there.
I know a family that had 2 children, and, they were shut off on a Friday.
No, we don't shut off on
I know you didn't do that, okay, but I know them, and it was just, because then that was a case with the couple, where they were not agreeing on who was supposed to pay what, right? But anyway, yeah, I don't like that Friday night shut off.
I believe 2 of them, the people were renters, and they had been gone for a while, and just running there anyway.
Okay, good, that was my only question.
And our next one is mid-March, isn't it, our water?
Yep, we'll be, the guys are just finishing up reading, actually this week, they'll be doing their pre-reads, and then we'll be getting the bills out in the mail next
I'm
week.
starting to put it on the calendar, because I didn't get a notice last time, I don't know what made me think there's a water bill.
There was a lot of people that, they said they didn't get it, that it
Yeah.
just, I don't know if it's something with the mail, we're like check with your
maybe.
post office,
We should
but-
put something on our Facebook page as a heads up. We could
It's
just-
really easy just to sign up to let you guys take it out and
It
forget about
sure
it.
is. It sure is. Just make
They
sure
don't take
that
it
you
out
got
till the date it's
the
due.
right bank at the right time.
Yeah.
Or
That's
they
the
will
first time I
shut your
ever
water
did
off.
not get a water bill, and I thought,
Yeah, the tagging the day before.
This is the first time in 9 years
Okay.
living here that I paid my water bill on time.
Yeah, we tag them on Wednesday.
Because I always forget
Show
it.
off on
It's
Thursday.
the one bill I forget.
Is it, that water main break down there by the cemetery, is that all fixed, other than landscape?
All except the cleanup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can tolerate that a lot.
Yeah, we got the bleeding stuff, so.
A little colder out there landscaping.
Yeah, that was 15 foot deep, didn't help either, so.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Okay, police department report? Any questions?
that what you're here for?
No.
Oh,
Nope.
no.
Am I doing this now?
No, you don't have to. I mean, if you'd like to, you have the uniform on, so I'll allow it.
Well, I thought it was in communications, so.
Yep, you are. I was just gonna give
She's
you
got
a,
handcuffs, too.
Chief hopes to be back on Monday.
Yep.
He was supposed to have surgery today. I don't wanna break any HIPAA laws, but this is actually kinda funny. They didn't have the parts at the hospital I needed to do the surgery.
Oh my
dear.
goodness.
So rather, and because of sterilization, you can't take parts from other hospitals, so they couldn't, I'm like, just have them ship you the parts, John. He said, that's not how it works. And so they're sending him to U of M, and so he hopes to have this, the surgery required tomorrow.
Good.
He's still expecting to be
Okay.
back on Monday, so he butt dialed me actually, and I could overhear it. What was going on, I'm like, I saw yell, chief, chief, chief. I'm like, I'm done listening, I'm not breaking any laws right here. And so I called him back, his wife picked up, and I was like, chief just butt dialed me, do you need me? Oh no, he's busy, and so he's like, give me the phone, and they don't have the parts for me. I said, I'm not answering this one,
That way you
I'll
can
see
get a
you Monday.
return job, eh?
Gotta have those parts.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they found it, because that's a really
Mhm.
serious thing.
But you know, that's, U of M is a great place to go for anything, so.
Yeah, and he seems to have a lot of them.
Are there any questions about,
The best part of having you here is you can answer most of these questions, since you do the majority of the work.
It's true.
Y'all, you're killing me. Well, my first thought for you is I have to laugh because I look at this activities number, and I don't know if Chief's discussed this with you, but I'll keep this brief. You know, that changes month to month. You know, December, I laughed, I didn't write as many tickets or take as many cars, and I said, well, it's Christmas. So instead of making you pay $125 fee and then towing your car away, you know, we're human, and as well as law enforcement. So, you know, we try and keep those things in mind as well. So, what questions can I answer for you guys? Anything?
Nothing, that was my comment about, you know, what's important and what's not, and that is just essential. You know, what is just silliness, what kid needs to be told to go home, as opposed to all the other things that can happen. But anyway, I just think, I really like your approach to that.
Do you guys get these schedules and then between yourselves fix them?
So
Is that what this is?
No, January was a little sideways. I kind of laughed. Anytime we get court, we kind of stick something in there. So the schedule goes up, and then we get court hearings, and you see the ones that got a bunch of little words that we got into court. I think I'm gonna be the only one that probably changes too much. There's a couple times I know just Thursday. I came in Thursday because I worked Thursday because I do a Thursday, Saturday, and then a Friday, Saturday, and I came in Thursday because I had my days mixed up. And he's like, just work, and so, you know, so you'll see I'm on Thursday and not Friday. So sometimes, you know, just being a little bit blind, believe it or not, is the issue with that. But that really worked out because that was the day of our CPR and Our Lady in the Ditch. So that sometimes I think that those things happen for a reason. But so sometimes it's just that simple. We've got something come up, we get court, there's a change. Just in even this week, you'll see the changes because Chief's gone. So those are why you see it, and that's my handwriting. So
Okay.
I'll take responsibility for that. So.
Jenny's used to people scribbling, I
Yeah.
know. So she's good
You know,
to-
and right now, just with the three of us basically here, there is a lot of gaps, but that's just, you know, that's just the way it is for right now. Going forward, there's, you know, we wanna see something professional, we wanna see somebody, you know, some connection to the community, and when that begins to occur, those gaps are gonna fill, and it's just, I think just in, similar to many things, we're in a process, and we're kinda gonna have to start over and go from here, but we have a lot of, hope in doing that, and I'm just gonna shove this in here right now, because then I can get out of here and let you guys do what you gotta do. When I worked as a paramedic, I walked into an ER one time and I saw a sign that says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Now, in our profession, as professionals, as law enforcement officers, that is a huge part of what we do, but we can't look like we care too much, you know, but you have to be a part and you have to care, and we have to, as a professional place, begin to be a caring important part of the community. I ran into a grant for a COPS grant, and, I had written it once prior at the prior law enforcement department I was at with the chief at that time. What the COPS grant is, it is, I will write it as a school resource grant. That's how I'd like to write it. I'm bringing it to you guys today. It's a federal grant. It would provide for a full-time police officer in the school for 3 years. It would cover 75% of their wages and their benefits. For that 3-year time period. It would provide a lot of support for the school. I had a brief conversation with the superintendent and the principal, and with your guys okay to write the grant, next week Wednesday, I go and stand in front of the school board and I present the grant to them to see if that's really what they wanna do. And I don't think that the principal and the superintendent could have been any more clear about the need for this position at the school. The biggest issues they're facing right now is vaping is out of hand. They've got a lot of drugs in the school. And that's just, unfortunately, the process of 2020.
But they never wanted to chip in any money, because when we talked about it before, they were all in favor of it, but they wanted us to do all the funding.
So,
But I do have a question, if we have this police officer at the school on this grant, and we have an emergency someplace in town, can that police officer leave, or are they bound to stay in the school?
yep. So there's a lot of things you get to talk about in this process, and that's one of the things that's important part, is what the responsibility of that officer is. We, in St. Charles, would absolutely use it that they're in the school, and they recommend 75% of the time. The COPS grant recommends 75% of the hours. Now, that allows for us to, if there's an emergency call in the city, we take care of that. That allows us to not necessarily be in school, but we're gonna go to the basketball game, or we're gonna go to the band concert. It doesn't have to be 75% in the morning at the school, it's just involved in the school activities. So that does absolutely leave options. And then in the summertime, there is no school, so then you've still got this that is covered, and they don't have any school responsibilities. So in the time when we're needed out, spring, summer, when kids are out, people, just being people and getting hurt and, driving too fast and doing the things that we do in the summertime that we don't necessarily do as much in the winter, that officer is completely available to the city. So,
Plus, they would know the kids that are getting into trouble in the summertime, they would have no idea who they are, right?
Yeah.
this would allow us to continue to develop a positive relationship,
Right.
core relationship, really with the police department, between the police department, the students, the staff, and even the people. You guys know I go to the games and stuff, I have people talking to me about dogs, I have people talking to me about the roads. I have somebody that said there's that arrow sign there on Beaverton North, that's gotta get changed, it's kind of wobbled like this, and we just have too many accidents on that corner. So, some of those things, so I hear a lot of those things, and that's a good thing to have. If they can come to me in the school and say, hey, these are the issues, the bus drivers came to me and said, we need to work on Walnut and Saginaw after school. So if they can come to a resource officer at that point in time, it's not just affecting the school, it's not just affecting the students, it's really gonna affect the community abroad. So that's the one of the important pieces to an SRO, or a school resource officer.
Did you get the grant when you wrote it?
We did not get the grant, but we feel like that's a good learning opportunity. And the dynamics were different in Midland County than they are in Saginaw County. There's a lot of things that are different. I sat down briefly with Mike Decker today, and he gave me all the statistics for truancy, and he gave me statistics for, I've got this right here, he's got 11 kids in the last 6 weeks that went out, got booted for vaping. These kids need to understand that it isn't about smoking in the boys' room, because everybody does that silly stuff. Vaping is
Dangerous.
Yeah. So not only do we need to address that they're doing it, but we need to educate kids, and that's gonna be part of the SRO's responsibility too, is that we need to begin to make people aware. Cause you hear things, you read things, you know, or you get a little information on Facebook, or somebody says, you know, but that's not educating, them to understand, what's happening in their bodies and what that really is.
Well, they don't
is
understand
doing.
because
So,
some of them, their parents are buying it for them.
Yeah.
Oh my,
Instead of smoking cigarettes, they think this is better.
oh my God.
Well, that's one of the things that Mike Decker mentioned, he said he feels like
I know,
there's
my,
some-
my granddaughter told me
Yeah,
that.
that some of the parents are
buying
an
it.
issue, and then the big thing about vaping is they can get THC in the vapor, in the vape.
Mhm.
So we're just adding a little bit of, dynamics that you just don't need in the school. So, what I'm asking for is permission to write this grant. Because that means that, and I think we talked about, it looks like the difference between the 25% difference is around $3,200 a year to get a full-time officer in there. So,
Really?
yeah, it was approximately $3,250, I think, was the approximate amount. If they're covering 75, the federal grant would cover 75% of salary and benefits for an officer. So 25% left is around $3,250.
Can't be.
Did you,
It just
mention
can't be.
that to Mike?
It just can't
Yes,
be.
yes, I did, and he did the whole little
Okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
that's Mike.
shuffle.
Yeah,
He just-
it just can't be. It's probably $15,000.
I believe it's 12, so the split would be 6,000.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
Well, I
it's
thought
gotta,
you
it's gotta
You were
be,
split up to 6 rather than the 12.
yeah,
Oh, gotcha,
it's
okay.
just gotta be with how much I know the
Gotcha,
salaries are
okay.
and how much I know the other thing is.
This is also with
You know-
So I
the
apologize, yeah.
union contract with the rates where they were.
You'll never get us on.
That's the other difference.
You know, I talked to you about this when we came in and looked over the budget, but, at that point, I said I definitely wanted the school to pay half. I'm not sure I feel that way anymore.
Well, that is
Because with the
something,
25%, we're gonna get that 25% worth in the summertime.
And
Oh, yeah.
vacations.
And have it, we're gonna have a
Absolutely.
full-time cop in the summer
For
with,
$12,000.
so I'm not sure if I care if they pay any of it. I mean, it's great if they
I would
do,
like to see him pay some of it. He always wants.
great if
but he
they do,
doesn't
but-
Well-
pay.
but
they're
we're
in
getting,
school
the
for-
25% is our summer full-time officer.
Yeah.
You know, I would like to see them pay something, but the other thing, I've been saying this for years, is that I want an officer in the school.
Yeah.
I've been very public, but the thing on this that I point out is you've got 157 calls of service, 4 arrests, 16 traffic tickets, but how many didn't speed because they seen you?
oh, no,
Yeah.
How many kids didn't vape, didn't commit a crime because they talked to you in school? How many kids did you talk to that come up and said, hey, you know what, it was a bad day, my parents they're drunk again, you know, that my dad's abusing me, and it stopped? Can you quantify any of the ones that you didn't talk to?
you know.
can't.
No, there's nothing, and, I appreciate that you mentioned that, because I think one of the misconceptions is the whole put cops in the school to arrest kids, and that's just so not the case. I just had 6 kids come up to me this last week, and they're like, hey, would you do a TikTok? I'm like, I don't know what TikTok is, if it's illegal, no, I'm not doing it. Other than that, what the heck? So we went out to the park and we did a fake, pullover. Didn't even do it, just made it, and he videoed it and put it on. I didn't put St. Charles on anything, I didn't put my name on anything, we were good. No weapons came out, nothing, we were good about doing it. But these kids just had an absolute blast. We spent 3.5 minutes, just making a goofy video of
See,
them
but that's
getting out
the
of the car and
positive
running around.
impact that you
Yeah.
have in our community.
And the thing that does is those kids all know the wrestlers here. So we had a conversation about one of our kids that just got booted on the wrestling team for a vape. And so just those relationships and those things that are formed, an SRO would
Yeah.
provide that. All the details will be worked out, you know, after we understand the status of the grant. I have a base of everything, you'll get all that when we see that grant money come this way. We'll have to create a memorandum of, understanding, what is their job, what do they do, how long are they in school, how long do they come and work with the city, and what is their priorities, all those details will get worked out between, a small group of us will have to get together and create that operations
We have a question or a statement or something over here.
Yes.
You asked about quantifying that presence. I did that for 7 years. I didn't realize the effect that an SRO in the school has until, cause I work in Chesaning
Yep.
at their school. They moved my office up by the office itself, and I took a week off. The principal came to me when I came back and said, you can never take that much time off, because the kids were constantly rolling through here. They needed to talk to you, they wanted to talk to you about something.
Yeah.
It
You
was
can't,
3 or
you,
4 kids every hour.
you can get those statistics every day about all the vaping, how many kids do it for how many students. You can get how many kids are abused, but you cannot get a statistic. There is nothing that'll quantify the ones that just your presence and sitting down at lunch and having a bowl of cereal with them, those 10 kids may be just like, whatever I was gonna do today, I'm just not gonna do it now.
Yeah.
Whatever was going bad in my life, it's not gonna be bad now.
Yep, because kids make stupid mistakes.
Yes, they do.
Because they feel like they
Spontaneous,
don't
yeah.
have that.
Because they're kids.
Even if the
Presence.
school doesn't pay for it, we're the better people for it.
Yeah.
I mean, if they don't want to chip in half, we're the better people for paying it. I think go for it.
Didn't we get
Yes.
that grant once before?
All right, well, super, I'm
We had a
gonna, I'm
different kind of grant.
consider writing the grant as a go, and, I'm gonna go and speak with the school board on Wednesday next week.
Do we
And,
need a vote?
and let them know that, we wanna pursue that,
Do you need
know,
our
as a village.
backing officially?
A vote or anything
Um,
like that, or just?
I don't know if you guys will need to vote on that
Okay.
necessarily.
I'm just curious what they're gonna say.
In the future will be a part of the.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
a great idea.
I think it's
too.
great.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
agree with you, Jim, I don't
Do
care
you
if
wanna
they
vote?
do it,
Yeah.
okay.
This time,
And if-
it's
I don't
getting to
care,
that point.
I think
yeah.
it's getting
Vote, we
bad,
can just-
Yeah.
I think it's getting really bad, and
Well, I'm
Wonderful.
encouraged, cause I had heard they've tried to do this several times, and they just met a lot of resistance, and I
Well,
just
Yeah.
think it was
different
time
times,
Yeah, it was
and you're a
different,
different
yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's
Yeah.
something you really want to do.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, I just see it as different.
Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate it, and we'll keep you abreast on that. I have to turn it in, by March, well, the due date's March 11th. I'm not gonna wait that long. I'd lose my mind doing it. He said within 45 days of that date, I should have a sense of what that looks like. So, I'm hoping here in June to be able to, and then that means a little bit of money. We gotta send somebody to SRO school. The school has obligations in doing drills and doing all those things that also are just we're gonna have to prepare for. But I think the future of St. Charles and those kids staying in the community and coming back to the community when they get older and seeing that, that cycle continue, this is an important part of that, so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we need that here because we're an
positive-
older village.
A positive
We need
influence.
the kids to stay.
Good
Yeah,
luck.
We don't
Good luck, yeah.
do dare
Absolutely,
programs
yes.
anymore, do we?
No, and that would be part of it. I think a huge facet is really the education portion. Kids hear things, but they aren't taught things, so that's gonna be,
They also know things they won't tell anything but anybody but you,
yeah, they will
Yeah.
tell the
once you
parents.
get in
Yeah.
there, so.
so.
Well,
All right, any other questions? Cause I'm gonna
No.
let you guys get to it. 'cause
Okay.
No. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Julie, thank you so much. Wow. Had no idea that they
Public comment.
even do
We the building inspector
Yeah,
perfected it.
building
yeah.
inspector. One more report.
Oh,
that.
Aren't we doing anything?
building
with the budget?
inspector?
I'm gonna ask a question.
You got it right here.
Oh,
Because
geez.
I need some direction.
What was on yours?
If we're ready for public, I do have one thing, we didn't talk about the budget at all yet.
Yeah.
Okay, now, my issue is, I need to talk to some people, I wonder if anybody else needs to talk to you, if we need to do that for a meeting, your suggestions by your email of, do we need to, does anybody else wanna come talk to him and set up a time to do that? Or do we just
I
wanna do
just
this
did
on
it.
our own? Well, that's you, okay.
So it's up to you guys. I was gonna mention that next Tuesday, I will be here from 5 until 9.
I
You
won't be
can-
here.
Okay, we could do next Saturday. I could do whatever time you want if you wanna talk about it. If not, we could set a meeting date for, a couple weeks from now.
We weren't planning on going through this tonight?
Oh, we were.
Oh. are we
I
going
was
to?
sweating all day. I was sweating all day waiting for this,
It's
and then
not that big.
we passed it out.
It's not that
We
big.
go through it tonight.
I just wanna get home, it's my daughter's birthday, and I
Yeah,
haven't
this,
seen her all
it's
day.
not on the agenda, people, and so
The taxation part is where I thought we would discuss it.
I guess
We
we're
kinda blew
Yeah.
through it.
Would be the code.
Addison's birthday party? Sunday.
This
Great.
Sunday.
Yep.
Well, does anybody else want to, or we just wanna do this individually? What do you
No,
wanna do,
I'd like
Diane?
to go through it
All
tonight.
together.
All together, it's people that can come, cause if we, if we have a quorum, we have to allow other people to be here.
Correct, so we'd have to post it.
So that's.
Well, I'd be happy to go through it with you. As the top note mentions, this is, I know it's your daughter's birthday, but this is a balanced approach to infrastructure. We talked about
Oh, I have your.
extra money for roads. This puts $430,000 towards roads, sewers, water. It's the initial phase.
Altogether.
Altogether, that does not include touching the village millage, street fund.
Right.
This is mainly for Hosmer, Fulton, asphalt. It does include, money for sidewalks. It is found out that.
I read all that,
Yep.
so, I mean, that's not, I didn't
Okay.
read it, it's just I have specific questions on all this stuff. And I think we need to have a time and then we can meet together and do this.
It's only 8:30.
What questions do you have that I can clear up?
No, it won't do, not in this amount of time, it's already 8:30.
Okay, we're done.
So we can't go through it tonight?
The only question I have,
Okay.
and I don't even have to come to the meeting then, I can be all done.
Okay.
It's not even a page. The money that you've got in here for the street paving over on Union Court, did you do it just out of general fund?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we didn't take anything out of the street funds.
No, ma'am.
Why did I see in here someplace that I thought you were taking some out of the street fund?
The street fund was untouched. I put it as construction.
Okay, did you have it in
I
here
have this-
before we talked and then you didn't take it out?
Before we talked, I had it in street funds as using that 80,000. After we spoke, I took it all general fund dollars. As you explained, we owe them a road.
Yes.
Well,
And I
what-
guess it, honestly, as I thought about it more, you could take half out of general and half out of the streets, because this street fund isn't gonna do us any good.
There's only 202,000 there.
Yeah.
That's in savings, and we're asked to put another 300,000 a year.
What I told him was a long time ago when we did all the streets in town, all of them. We did not do the streets over by Union Court because the water lines were so bad, we skipped those. And then when we got done with that program, we made a list of streets that did not get improved, and there's like 5 or 6 of them on there. You remember this, Lois?
Yes.
And that's one of them. So I said to Hart, why don't we just do this out of the general fund and leave the street one alone, because that's a different kind of way of paying for things. So let's take it out of the general fund like we did all the other streets and pay for it, and he agreed that that was a good idea, so that's what he did.
Okay.
And that's the only thing I suggested out of the entire budget.
What, if anybody else?
Yeah, so he did a good
Yeah.
job, he did a good
I
job.
believe that. Okay, if the rest of us want to meet with him, what would be a good night, and what, or a good day or whatever, so we can set a time? Any suggestions, Sarah?
What day are you thinking?
I don't-
I have
that-
every Monday and Tuesday off, and every Sunday off, and every other Saturday off.
Jim?
I'm looking.
I don't wanna mess around on Sunday.
My things, if we do like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it has to be like 7:30. Because I don't get out of work until 6:30, and by the time I get back to town, it's 7.
Yeah, you can pick a day, and because I'm
I don't know what
Next
I'm
week, we
gonna
will
do.
have a parks meeting on a Wednesday and a planning meeting on Thursday.
Thursday, so what about the week following that, on Monday or Tuesday?
You guys tell me, I'll be here.
I can do any Monday or Tuesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm out of town. Next
Monday
week,
it
or
is.
the 25th
What
and
about,
26th.
what about, okay, when is the 25th, what day of the week?
That's a Tuesday.
Okay, so you'd be available on the 24th, I don't have my calendar here with me.
Yeah, I think 24th I can. Yep.
Can we do it on the 24th?
It's a Monday night.
Yep.
At what time?
Well, she said 7:30, cause she works till
Nope,
6.
Mondays and Tuesdays I'm off.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Jim, how soon can you get here?
I could be here by 5:30.
Hart, would you rather do it at 5:30?
That works for me.
Okay,
Is
so
5:30 okay with you?
5:30 is fine, Monday 24th at 5:30. That'll have to get noticed up then, right?
Correct.
Are we gonna call this a budget workshop?
No. We'll
No.
call it budget meeting.
Okay.
Monday, February 24th.
You happened to-
5:30
you happened to hit
till
the
10.
only empty day I had left.
We
That
got
works for me, cause I have
what time?
2 root canals and
5:30.
wisdom teeth getting pulled at us.
And Jenny, could you just shoot us an email as a remembrance on that too?
I like the idea that we're
No,
not
I
touching
just, no,
that
no.
spot yet, because I look at all the red on here and it's gonna be
scary.
hard to catch up.
And it's the right way to go.
And you can make that.
He's sitting there talking about
5:30
$300,000 a year and we
on the
only have
Oh,
200,000
that's
sitting
Lauren's
there.
birthday.
Yeah.
You can be
Scary.
here for that meeting, cause we trust you.
I can, because I think Kendall's home this weekend, we're going out to dinner for Lori's birthday before that, so. we'll
You
be
looked
there.
really good today.
Here I went again. Here I went
Did a
Yeah, I
again.
heard you
job.
one Monday.
Thank you.
I know, I didn't really
Yeah,
like
I liked it.
anything.
I was just,
I don't
I was
really
looking
eat.
But on several
back today and I was like,
different
how long have I been here?
I
was
died.
like,
Now
135
we're
days
going
and
to-
I'm presenting the
now we're
budget
going
tonight.
to
I was like,
Australia.
that's crazy.
Oh, it's
But you
nice.
did a good
I
job.
I appreciate
See,
it.
but it makes us really think, you
We
know what,
went
we did a
to,
really good job doing this pit.
I know.
Over
I mean, I do have some.
So are we
This is
set
a
then?
Little River.
I think so.
Did you go to Little River?
Do have some
Probably.
revenues that'll change
Yeah,
those
they done pretty
numbers.
good, I don't
but
do that much.
Everything going
Some of
forward
the girls
is very
done pretty
minimal.
good.
I did really.
Okay, so,
Cover
we're
and
done.
we'll work on
Yep,
things.
we're all set.
Alright,
I liked
sounds
it.
good. Keep this
I
for
hear a
myself.
motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I will,
Support,
I'll support it.
all those in favor,
Aye.
Aye.
opposed?
Huh.
I didn't hear no.
Yeah.